I believe the reason why they are religiously extreme is because of the conditions that they live under, because of the actions of America.
That's absurd and foolish. I'm sorry, that's absurd and foolish. Yeah, and the reason that's absurd and foolish is because religious fundamentalism in the Islamic world did not begin in the year 1948. To pretend otherwise is to ignore literally all of Middle Eastern history.
Hey folks, this is the Other Barak coming to you live and direct from the Holy Land here in Israel. Today we have a video of Ben Shapiro doing Ben Shapiro things, getting asked by somebody why won't he accept the Palestinians inside of Gaza and the West Bank to be let into the state of Israel. Make sure you stick around after his response for today's Arabic word of the day. Let's take a listen.
Hi, I just wanted to say that obviously Hamas is evil and bad. Like, I don't support religious extremism or fundamentalism in any, don't laugh at me, thank you, but religious extremism or fundamentalism in any form. However, to me, what I'm just really confused on is why you don't support the citizens of the people living in Gaza and the West Bank, why you don't support them being able to also live inside of Israel.
Why don't I support them being able to live inside of Israel? Because they would immediately vote to destroy the state of Israel and interpolate another terrorist group like Hamas or the Palestinian Authority, endangering every Jew in the region. Everyone knows this. A single state is not a solution. It would endanger every Jewish life in the region. This is why Israel has pursued a two-state solution. It's why the international community wants a two-state solution. The only party that doesn't actually want some sort of two-state solution seems to be the Palestinian Authority, which has rejected every deal ever put in front of it, and Hamas, which is seeking to kill Jews in, by the way, a non-settlement area. That's not even an area that's controversial. That is not even a disputed area where they were murdering Jews. That was just outside the Gaza Strip. That's been Israeli territory since 1947-48.
Historically speaking, okay.
Let me ask a quick counter question. America is a country of 330 million people. There are a billion Muslims across the earth. Many of them live in places like Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and have very, very different opinions on politics and women's rights than I assume you do. You proclaim that you're secular and you don't like religious fundamentalism. How would you feel about importing, say, 300 million of those people into the United States? Would that make you feel like, is that a good idea or a bad idea?
I believe the reason that those people are, I believe the reason why they are religiously extreme is because of the conditions that they live under, because of the actions of America.
That's absurd and foolish. I'm sorry, that's absurd and foolish.
That's not absurd and foolish at all. Okay.
It's America's fault. According to this girl, it's America's fault. It's the United States of America's fault that all of the Muslims that Ben is referring to in these countries are religious extremists and fundamentalists. It's America's fault. I don't know how old she is. She looks pretty young. 16, 17, I have no idea. This is how 16, 17-year-olds are thinking today. It's scary.
Yeah, and the reason that's absurd and foolish is because religious fundamentalism in the Islamic world did not begin in the year 1948. To pretend otherwise is to ignore literally all of Middle Eastern history. I mean, the fact of the matter is that since the time of Muhammad, and really since the year about 1100, when moderate Islam was pushed off to the side and the printing press was banned, the Islamic world has been replete with fundamentalism and extremism, repression of women, destruction of religious minorities or subjugation of religious minorities. All the happy talk about how everybody was living in some sort of utopian paradise where Jews were treated wonderfully is belied by the actual facts on the ground under the Ottoman Empire, under Arab-speaking empires. Again, this idea that religious fundamentalism is driven by the West is honestly, it's so narcissistic on the part of Westerners to believe that the only reason that religious Muslims believe what religious Muslims believe is because of us. I promise you, religious Muslims don't believe what they believe because of you. They believe what they believe because of what they believe.
It's right here. It's right here. We can take a peek if we need to. It's right here. They believe what they believe, not because of the United States of America, not because of the great Satan, not because of Western morals and the code of conduct over there. It's because they're looking to destroy it from day one. As soon as they're able to breathe as human beings, they are taught to go destroy America.
And it's a soft bigotry of low expectations to pretend that radical Muslims don't have opinions of their own. It must simply be driven by their lack of material success. That is not how the world works. People don't all think like you. It's okay. No, let her respond, please. That's fine.
Obviously, not everyone thinks like I do. However, when you are put into a situation where when people are backed into a corner and they don't have proper conditions to live under, they're way more likely to resort to religious fundamentalism. They're way more likely to resort to extremism in general.
I don't disagree with that, but I will deny that that's the West's fault.
Hamas is in terms of like just the other the neighboring Arab countries, I don't think continual war and in the Middle East and all the stuff that America did in the Middle East, which I'm sure you have criticisms of. I don't think that that really helped get rid of the influence of groups like ISIS or Al-Qaeda, because that just...
Well, I mean, it certainly helped get rid of some of the influence of ISIS because we killed a huge number of them. Again, the notion that ISIS and Al-Qaeda and all terrorism is to blame on the West ignores all of Islamic history and the history of the region. It ignores the fact that there were Islamic invasions of Europe back in the 1300s. Again, this sort of ignorance of history that is rooted in the idea that all the forces you see today must be the result of things that America is doing or the West is doing. I don't see any evidence for that. The times, by the way, when the Arab street has risen up, they've promptly replaced more moderate dictators with things like the Muslim Brotherhood, which is exactly what happened during the so-called Arab Spring when they took over for Mohammed Morsi and promptly put in place the Muslim Brotherhood. You can keep blaming economics until the cows come home. You know what the solution to that would be, by the way? I have a solution for this. If what you're saying is right, I have a solution for this. Here's the solution. In 2005, Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is an area that is less population dense than both Singapore and Hong Kong. Hundreds of millions, nay, billions of dollars flowed into the Gaza Strip. If people there, and Hamas in particular, really wanted to develop the lives of their citizens and make them better, they could have, and they should. And yet I see very little demand for that. At a certain point, people are going to have to take responsibility for their own actions and stop blaming America and the West for making shitty decisions.
Every time there is something out of the Gaza Strip that the world looks at and sees, from the videos, from the footage, from the despair, from the destruction, believe it or not, it's not just condemned against Israel. People don't just say it's the Jews' fault and it's the Zionists' fault. They say it's the Jews' fault and the Zionists' fault because of America. So they see both it's the same people, it's the same thing, it's the same attempt to wipe off extremists. They look at what Israel is conducting, how they're conducting their war. They look at it as a land grab. They look at it as a quote unquote, the G word, which I can't say now on YouTube, or ethnic cleansing, or an open air prison being conducted by America. And last year we saw this wave of children, 15, 16, little teens on TikTok come out saying that they read bin Laden's letter and that in fact he was correct and that we should understand his perspective through history and that what he was trying to do was good for the world. And then it can't be a surprise to you when you see those same exact individuals, maybe not the 13-year-olds, but the 18-year-olds, some of the 13-year-olds, go out to the streets, take a lighter and burn an American flag and say death to America. It's not because of the war between Hamas and Israel. That's not why they're saying death to America. They look at it as a much bigger problem. Same to this girl here who's posing the point that the fundamental extremists, the religious extremists that you have in these cities in the Middle East is because of this so-called oppression that began in the West of a superior entity over the entire world, and that Israel is just clamping off of that. Israel is just taking a piece of that idea, not leading a democracy, not having a place where you have freedom of speech, not letting other people being able to express their religious opinion. They think the opposite. They think Hamas is where you have freedom of speech. They think Hamas is where you're allowed to be gay, straight, or lesbian, or whatever. They think Hamas, that's where they think all of the right fundamental ideologies of this girl here, they think it's in the Gaza Strip. They think it's in Lebanon. They think it's in Iran. They think it's in Syria. They think it's in Egypt. They have the entire book is backwards, the whole thing. And this is just ignorance towards history. It's also ignorance towards looking deeply into how Israel has tried to prevent this idea from spreading. And there's only so much Israel can do to prevent more and more people from genuinely believing that we should just burn America. Maybe one day not call it the United States of America. That's the current state of where we're at. But Ben Shapiro always does Ben Shapiro things, which leads us to the last segment here the Arabic word of the day.
فتاحة
That was half speed. Let's do it again.
فتاحة
Fataha, which means a can opener. Fataha. Fattahah. Fataha was a can opener. Thank you so much for all of your continued support. I have one more thing. Don't go. If you believe in me and what I'm doing and you want to help this platform grow, your help is needed. You can support right now through PayPal or buy me a coffee. But the best way to support is to join my Patreon, The Inner Circle. You'll get incredible perks, bonus content, and you will help this channel stay alive. Oh, and you have to join our Discord. It is free with people from literally all over the world. And that's it. I appreciate every bit of support. Thank you for being on this journey with me.